Good morning, fellow Americans. Today we're diving into a crisis that could shake the foundation of our daily lives. Imagine waking up to find your world turned upside down. No power, empty gas stations, and electricity bills that make your eyes water. This isn't fear-mongering. This is the potential reality if tensions between the United States and Canada continue to escalate. Let me paint you a picture. The United States relies on Canada for 60% of our crude oil imports and 99% of our natural gas imports. These numbers represent the energy that powers our homes, fuels our cars, and keeps our industries running. Our relationship with our northern neighbor is showing dangerous cracks. Canada has begun hinting at possible restrictions on energy exports, responding to U.S. trade pressures and policies affecting their fossil fuel production. This isn't just diplomatic posturing. It's a threat that could devastate our economy. The timing couldn't be worse, considering the ongoing revolution in the electric vehicle market. Tesla and other manufacturers are dealing with a fierce price war initiated by Chinese competitors. These companies need stable energy supplies, and any disruption in Canadian energy flows could send shockwaves through the industry. We're looking at a potential perfect storm. Soaring gas prices, widespread blackouts, and significant job losses, particularly in manufacturing sectors. The ripple effects would touch every aspect of American life, from your morning commute to store shelves. Countries like China and European nations are already positioning themselves to strengthen their energy ties with Canada, potentially leaving the U.S. vulnerable. This isn't some distant threat. The decisions being made in boardrooms and government offices right now could determine whether we maintain our energy security or face a crisis that would make the 1970s oil embargo look like a minor inconvenience. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into this developing situation and what it means for your future. This is just the beginning of a story that every American needs to understand. In a dramatic shift within the global automotive landscape, the EV market is witnessing an unprecedented transformation. While Tesla maintained its leadership position in 2021 with a 600,000 vehicle lead over Chinese manufacturer BYD, that gap narrowed to just 230,000 units by 2023. BYD overtook Tesla in battery electric vehicle sales during the final quarter, signaling a major shift in industry dynamics. This automotive rivalry unfolds against the backdrop of a tense energy relationship between the United States and Canada, a partnership crucial for American economic stability. Canada provides 60% of U.S. crude oil imports and 99% of its natural gas imports, along with substantial uranium supplies for nuclear power. This vital partnership now faces serious challenges. Washington implemented tariffs on Canadian steel, aluminum, and critical EV battery materials. The U.S. pressed Canada to reduce fossil fuel production, while maintaining heavy reliance on Canadian oil to manage domestic gas prices. Canada's response has been decisive. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government announced unprecedented energy restrictions targeting the United States, including limitations on crude oil exports, stricter controls on natural gas supply, and new constraints on uranium exports, resources fundamental to American energy security. The implications could be far-reaching. 1 in 5 American households depends on nuclear power plants requiring Canadian uranium. Millions of homes rely on Canadian natural gas for heating, and countless businesses depend on stable fuel supplies. These measures could trigger soaring gas prices, potential blackouts, and widespread economic disruption across the United States. This situation represents more than a bilateral trade dispute. It's evolving into a strategic reassessment of North American energy interdependence. The timing is critical as the U.S. pushes for rapid EV adoption and clean energy transition, goals that could be compromised by these tensions. Breaking news. America's energy security faces an unprecedented crisis, as tensions with our northern neighbor threaten to disrupt vital energy supplies. Our investigation reveals startling vulnerabilities in what many thought was an unshakable partnership. Picture this. You wake up tomorrow to find gas prices doubled overnight. Your electricity bill looks like a phone number. This nightmare scenario could become reality, as Canada, America's largest energy partner, considers restricting vital energy exports. Let's break down the numbers. 60% of our crude oil imports and 99% of our natural gas imports come from Canada. These aren't just statistics, they're the lifeblood of our economy. Industry experts warn of an economic tsunami. We're looking at a perfect storm, says energy analyst James Morrison. When you cut off this much energy supply, The ripple effects touch every aspect of American life. Manufacturing hubs in Michigan and Texas could face job losses. The auto industry might halt production. The electric vehicle industry could be derailed before it truly gets going. Canada isn't just sending us oil and gas. They're also crucial suppliers of nickel, lithium, and aluminum, essential materials for EV batteries. Tesla relies heavily on Canadian nickel. Without it, affordable electric vehicles could vanish. The power grid situation is equally alarming. Nearly 30 U.S. states depend on Canadian energy for electrical needs. A significant reduction could lead to blackouts and strain our power infrastructure. Local officials in border states are preparing contingency plans. "We've never seen a threat to our energy security of this magnitude," admits a senior Energy Department official, speaking anonymously. As this crisis unfolds, Americans are advised to prepare for potential energy disruptions and higher costs across all sectors. Stay tuned for updates on this developing situation that could reshape America's energy landscape. In a developing crisis that threatens global energy dynamics, the United States faces an unprecedented challenge as Canada, its largest energy supplier, considers implementing severe export restrictions. With 30 days before potential supply cuts, regions of the U.S. could face devastating power outages, particularly in the Northeast and Midwest. New York and Michigan are most vulnerable, where power grid failures could trigger rolling blackouts affecting critical infrastructure. Hospitals, transportation networks, and essential businesses face the prospect of severe disruptions. The effects extend beyond North America, as global powers move to capitalize on this shifting landscape. China has already initiated negotiations with Ottawa for substantial energy deals, potentially strengthening Beijing's energy security while leaving Washington vulnerable. European nations, grappling with energy instability, are monitoring the situation and pursuing alternative energy partnerships to reduce U.S. market dependence. This pivot could realign international energy alliances. Emerging economies like India and Brazil are establishing new trade agreements with Canada, positioning themselves as rising players in the global energy market. Prime Minister Trudeau maintains a firm stance as the deadline approaches, while U.S. officials seek resolution. The situation echoes past energy crises, though none with such far-reaching consequences for North American energy security. Experts warn that the impact could extend beyond energy concerns, affecting manufacturing and national security. The crisis highlights the vulnerable nature of international partnerships when faced with modern pressures. As the countdown continues, markets remain volatile, with energy futures showing instability. The potential disruption of Canadian energy exports could trigger a domino effect on global energy prices and availability. This serves as a reminder of the interconnected nature of modern energy markets and international trade relationships. Breaking news. The United States and Canada are on the brink of what experts call the most consequential trade dispute of the 21st century. This developing crisis threatens to disrupt the energy security of both nations and could reshape global energy markets. At the heart of this tension lies complex demands. Canadian officials push for stricter environmental policies and elimination of trade barriers, while former President Donald Trump advocates for harsher measures against Canada, calling for unprecedented tariff increases on imports. "This isn't just about energy anymore," says Dr. James Morrison, economist at the Global Trade Institute. "We're witnessing a fundamental shift in North American economic relations that could rival the impact of the 1970s oil crisis. The stakes are high. The United States depends on Canada for 60% of its crude oil imports and 99% of its natural gas imports. If negotiations fail, Americans could face widespread blackouts across major cities, gas prices potentially doubling or tripling, massive job losses in manufacturing sectors, severe disruption to the electric vehicle industry, economic instability affecting housing and retirement funds. Negotiators work behind closed doors to prevent what many call an impending economic catastrophe. We're looking at a situation that could fundamentally alter the North American energy landscape," warns Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm. The dispute is attracting global attention. China and European nations are positioning themselves to strengthen energy ties with Canada, should U.S.-Canadian relations deteriorate further. The next few weeks will determine whether diplomatic efforts can prevent an economic disaster, or if we're heading toward the most intense trade war in modern history. The implications extend beyond our borders, potentially restructuring global